Chapter 1. The fire crackled, casting flickering shadows across the clearing where the crescent moon pack gathered. Selene, a lean and agile warrior with silver-streaked auburn hair, sat cross-legged on the cool grass, her amber eyes fixed on Elder Rose. The old she-wolf's voice wove through the night, her words heavy with the weight of legend. And so, the Shadow Alpha was cursed, Rose intoned, her grey eyes glinting in the firelight. 200 years ago, Alpha Lucius of the Nightshade Pack spurned a witch's love in her wrath. She bound him and his pack to the shadows, never to walk in daylight again. They hunt only at night, unseen, their howls a warning to all who stray too far. The pups gasped, huddling closer to their parents. Selena's best friend, Amanda, a wiry scout with a sharp tongue, nudged her. "Sounds like a story to keep the little ones from wandering," she whispered, smirking. Selena forced a smile, but her gaze drifted to the forest beyond the clearing. The dark expanse of pines seemed to hum, a faint whisper curling around her heart. She shook her head, trying to focus on Rose's tail. "Do they still live out there?" piped up Tobin, a wide-eyed pup with unruly black curls. Rose's lips tightened. "Some say they do, child. The Shadow Alpha is immortal, bound by the witch's curse. His pack roams the deep woods, far beyond our borders. But no one who's seen them returns to tell the tale." "That's nonsense," muttered Kale, Selena's older brother and the pack's lead warrior. His broad shoulders and stern jaw made him a commanding presence. "If they existed, we'd have found their tracks by now. The forest isn't that big." Rose's eyes narrowed. "Doubt the tales if you must, Kale, but the forest holds secrets older than us all. Respect them, or they'll teach you humility." Selene's fingers dug into the grass. The forest's call tugged at her again, a soft murmur like a distant voice. She'd felt it for weeks now, growing stronger each night. It wasn't fear or curiosity, it was something deeper, like a thread pulling her toward the unknown. "Selene, you're awfully quiet," Amanda said, her green eyes teasing. "What, you think you'll run off and find this Shadow Alpha yourself?" The group chuckled, but Selena's cheeks warmed. "I'm just listening," she said, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "Unlike you, I don't need to talk over everyone to prove I'm here." Amanda laughed unbothered. "Fair enough, but if you do go chasing myths, take me with you. I'd love to see Kale's face when you prove him wrong." Kale snorted, crossing his arms. "Keep dreaming. Amanda Selene's too smart to chase ghost stories." As the fire died down and the pack dispersed, Selene lingered, her gaze fixed on the forest's edge. The tales might be myths, but the pull in her chest was real. She didn't know why, but she felt it calling her name. Chapter 2. The Training. Grounds buzzed with activity as the Crescent Moon Pack's warriors sparred under the midday sun. Selene dodged a blow from Kale, her movements fluid but distracted. Her eyes kept straying to the forest, its dark canopy swaying in the breeze. That whisper was there again, soft but insistent, like a song only she could hear. "Selene, focus." Kale barked, his wooden staff swinging toward her shoulder. She sidestepped just in time, but her counterattack was sloppy, and he easily disarmed her. The staff clattered to the ground, drawing groans from the other warriors. "What's with you today?" Kale demanded, wiping sweat from his brow. "You're fighting like a pup who's never held a weapon." Selene retrieved her staff, avoiding his gaze. "I'm fine, just didn't sleep well." Amanda, sparring nearby with another warrior named Gavin, called out, She's probably dreaming of her shadow alpha lover. Gavin, a lanky young wolf with a quick grin, laughed, but Selene shot Amanda a glare. Enough. Amanda, snapped Rose, who oversaw the training. The elder's sharp eyes studied Selene. You've been distracted for days. If something's troubling you, speak it. A warrior's mind must be clear. Selene hesitated. How could she explain the forest's call? It wasn't a sound, not exactly, just a feeling, like her wolf was stirring, urging her to run towards something she couldn't name. It's nothing, Elder Rose, she said finally. I'll focus. Rose's expression softened, but her voice was firm. See that you do. The pack relies on you, Selene. You're one of our best, but skill means nothing if your heart's elsewhere. As training ended, Amanda sidled up to Selene, her grin mischievous. So, what's really going on? You've been staring at the forest like it's going to sprout legs and dance. Selene sighed, adjusting the leather bracer on her wrist. I don't know, Amanda. It's like something's out there, pulling me. I can't explain it. Amanda's grin faded, replaced by concern. You're not actually thinking of going out there, are you? The elders would skin you alive, and Kale would lock you in the den for a month. I'm not planning anything, Selene said, but her words lacked conviction. The call was stronger now, a steady pulse in her chest. She glanced at the forest again, its shadows beckoning. That evening, as the pack settled into their dens, Selene sat by her window, staring at the moonlit trees. Kale knocked on her doorframe, his expression stern. You're worrying me, little sister. Whatever's got you distracted, let it go. The forest is no place for wandering. I know, Selene said, forcing a smile. I'm fine, Kale. Really, he didn't look convinced, but nodded and left. Alone, Selene pressed a hand to her chest, where her wolf stirred restlessly. The call was louder now, undeniable. She couldn't ignore it any longer. Chapter 3. The moon hung low, casting silver light over the crescent moon pack's territory. Selene slipped out of her den, her footsteps silent on the damp earth. Her heart pounded, not with fear, but with anticipation. The forest's call was a siren song, pulling her forward. She wore her dark cloak, blending into the shadows, and carried a small dagger at her waist, just in case. As she crossed the boundary of the pack's territory, the air grew cooler, the forest's scent sharper. Pine needles crunched underfoot, and the whisper in her chest became a chorus, urging her deeper. Her wolf paced within her, senses alert. But there was no fear, only a strange certainty that she was meant to be here. Selene, you're insane, she muttered to herself, pausing to scan the darkness. The trees loomed like silent sentinels, their branches swaying in a gentle breeze. She pressed on, the call guiding her through winding paths she'd never explored. Hours passed, and the terrain grew unfamiliar. The pack's maps didn't extend this far, and the landmarks she knew, twisted oaks, a rocky stream, were gone. Doubt crept in, but her wolf growled, urging her forward. All right, she whispered, patting her chest. I'm going. The forest thickened, the canopy blocking out the moonlight. Selena's eyes adjusted, her wolf's vision sharpening. She climbed a rocky outcrop, and there, in a hidden valley, she saw it, a crumbling castle, its spires jagged against the night. Sky, vines choked its walls, and broken windows stared like empty eyes. The sight sent a shiver down her spine, but the call pulsed, stronger than ever. What is this place? She breathed, stepping closer. The air felt heavy, charged with something ancient and alive. her wolf wind, eager yet cautious. Selene gripped her dagger, her senses straining. The castle was no myth, it was real, and it was calling her. Chapter 4. Selene approached the castle's rusted gates, her footsteps echoing in the silence. The structure loomed larger up close, its stone walls weathered but imposing. Gargoyles perched on the ramparts, their carved faces frozen in snarls. The air carried a faint scent of moss and something else, something wild, like fur and moonlight. She pushed the gate, wincing as it creaked. The courtyard beyond was overgrown with weeds, a broken fountain at its center. Her wolf stirred, senses tingling. She wasn't alone. Eyes watched her from the shadows, their presence prickling her skin. "Who's there?" she called, her voice steady despite her racing heart. No answer came, but a shadow moved near the castle's entrance, flicker, too fast to track. Selene tightened her grip on her dagger and stepped forward. "I know you're watching. Show yourself." A low chuckle echoed from the darkness, sending a chill down her spine. "Bold for a trespasser," a deep voice said, rich and resonant. "Most who come here don't leave." Selena's wolf growled, but not in fear. There was something familiar in that voice, something that made her heart skip. "I'm not most," she replied, scanning the shadows. "And I'm not here to cause trouble. I was drawn here, drawn." The voice sounded closer now, amused but wary. "The forest doesn't call without reason. Who are you?" "Selene, of the Crescent Moon Pack," she said, standing taller. "And you? Are you the one hiding in the shadows?" A figure emerged from the darkness, tall and broad-shouldered, cloaked in a tattered black mantle. His face was half hidden, but his eyes glowed faintly, a piercing silver that locked onto hers. "You shouldn't be here, Selene," he said, his tone a mix of warning and curiosity. "This place is cursed." Her breath caught. The legends rushed back Rose's tales of the Shadow Alpha. "Are you him?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "The Shadow Alpha," he stiffened, his eyes narrowing. "You know the stories, yet you came. Either you're brave or foolish." "Maybe both," she said, forcing a smile. "But I felt something calling me. I had to come." He studied her, his gaze intense. "The forest's call is dangerous. Turn back, Selene, before it's too late." But her wolf surged within her, a fierce certainty flooding her veins. She took a step closer, her voice firm. "I'm not leaving until I understand why I'm here." The man Lucius, if the tales were true, tilted his head, a faint smile, curling his lips. "Then you're in more danger than you know." Chapter 5. Selene followed Lucius into the castle's great hall, her boots echoing on the cracked stone floor. Moonlight streamed through shattered windows, illuminating dust, moats, and faded tapestries. The air was thick with the scent of age and something else, a musky, intoxicating aroma that made her wolf howl. "Mate," she froze, her heart pounding. The word reverberated in her mind, her wolf clawing at her restraint. She'd heard of the mate. Bond, the soul-deep connection that bound to wolves. But this was overwhelming. Her eyes locked onto Lucius, who stood near a crumbling throne, his posture tense. "You feel it too, don't you?" she asked, her voice trembling but resolute. Lucius turned, his silver eyes blazing. "Don't say it," he growled, his voice low and dangerous. "You don't understand what you're stepping into." "My wolf isn't lying," Selene said, stepping closer, she's screaming it. "You're my mate." He flinched, as if the word struck him. You think that makes this simple, he snapped. You think you can waltz into my world and claim a bond? This place, this cursed, will destroy you. Then tell me, she said, her voice rising. Tell me about the curse. Tell me why you're hiding here, why you're running from this bond. Lucius's jaw tightened, his hands clenching at his sides. You're stubborn, he said, almost to himself. Fine, but don't say I didn't warn you. He gestured to a stone bench, and Selene sat, her eyes never leaving his. He paced, his cloak swirling, before speaking. 200 years ago, I was Alpha of the Nightshade Pack. We were strong, united, but I made an enemy which named Morgana. She wanted me in a way I couldn't return. When I refused her, she cursed me and my pack. We're bound to the shadows, unable to walk in daylight, immortal but trapped. Selene's breath caught. Immortal. You've been alive for 200 years. He nodded, his expression grim. Every day I feel the weight of it. My pack suffers with mythos who survived. We hunt at night, hide in this ruin, and avoid the world. Morgana's magic ensures no one breaks the curse. And the mate bond, Selene pressed, her wolf urging her closer. Does it mean nothing to you? Lucius stopped, pacing, his eyes softening for a moment. It means everything, he said quietly, but it's a danger to you. Morgana's curse doesn't just bind MIT, punishes anyone who gets too close. You need to leave, Selene, before she senses you. Selene stood, her resolve hardening. I'm not afraid of a witch's ghost. If you're my mate, I'm staying. We'll figure this out together. Lucius stared at her, a mix of frustration and admiration in his eyes. You're impossible, he muttered. But if you stay, you follow my rules. This castle is no place for recklessness. Deal, Selene said, a spark of defiance in her smile. But don't think you can scare me off, Shadow Alpha. As they spoke, a distant howl echoed through the castle, sharp and urgent. Lucius tensed, his gaze snapping to the windows. My pack, he said. They've sensed you. This just got more complicated. Selene's hand rested on her dagger, her wolf ready. Then let's meet them, she said. I'm not here to hide. Chapter 6. The howl still echoed through the castle's stone corridors as Selene followed Lucius toward the source. Her boots thudded against the cracked floor, her heart racing with a mix of anticipation and unease. The scent of her mate wild-like, storm-tossed pines filled her senses, grounding her even as her wolf bristled at the unknown. Lucius moved with predatory grace, his tattered cloak swirling, his silver eyes scanning the shadows. Who's out there? Selene asked, her voice steady despite the tension coiling in her chest. Your pack, you said. Are they dangerous? Lucius glanced over his shoulder, his expression unreadable. They're loyal but wary, a stranger in our territory, mate. Or not puts them on edge. Stay close and let me speak first. Selene nodded, her hand resting on the dagger at her waist. I can handle myself, she said, a hint of defiance in her tone. But I'll follow your lead. For now, a faint smile tugged at his lips, gone as quickly as it appeared. Your trouble, Selene, of the Crescent Moon Pack. They emerged into a cavernous chamber, its vaulted ceiling lost in darkness. Moonlight spilled through a shattered skylight, illuminating 3 figures waiting in the center. 2 men and a woman, all lean and battle-scarred, their eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. The woman, with cropped black hair and a jagged scar across her cheek, stepped forward, her posture rigid. Lucius, she said, her voice sharp. Why is an outsider here? Her scents all over the castle. Lucius raised a hand, silencing her. Rhea, this is Selene. She's my mate. The word hung in the air, heavy with meaning. Rhea's eyes widened, then narrowed as she studied Selene. The taller man, with a grizzled beard and a long sword strapped to his back, let out a low whistle. Mate, after all these years, that's a twist. Quiet, Torin, said the third figure, a younger man with sharp features and a bow slung over his shoulder. His gaze flicked to Selene, cautious but curious. I'm Cassian. If Lucius says you're his mate, that's enough for me. But why are you here, Selene? This isn't a place for visitors. Selene met his gaze, her chin lifting. I didn't choose to come. The forest called me, pulled me here. My wolf led me to Lucius, and I'm not leaving until I understand. Why? Rhea snorted, crossing her arms. The forest doesn't call without reason or manipulation. You ever think you're being played, girl? Enough, Rhea, Lucius growled, his voice carrying an alpha's command. Selene's presence is my responsibility. She stays under my protection. Torin scratched his beard, his eyes glinting with amusement. Bold move, Lucius. The pack won't all take kindly to an outsider, mate or not, and if Morgana catches wind of this, Selena's ears pricked at the name. Morgana, the witch who cursed you. She's still a threat. Lucius's jaw tightened. Her spirit lingers, tied to the curse. She watches us, always. Your arrival might stir her attention, which is why you should have left when I told you. I'm not running, Selene said, her voice firm. If I'm your mate, that means something. I want to know everything about you, your pack, and this curse. Cassian tilted his head, a spark of respect in his eyes. She's got fire, I'll give her that. But Lucius is right. Morgana's no myth. She's dangerous, even now. Lucius sighed, running a hand through his dark hair. Selene, you're stubborn as a mountain. Fine, stay. But you'll learn the truth the hard way. Come with me. He led her to a smaller chamber, its walls lined with faded maps and dusty shelves. Rhea, Torin, and Cassian followed, their presence a silent reminder of the pack's vigilance. Lucius gestured to a chair, but Selene remained standing, her eyes locked on his. Start talking, she said. Who are you, really? Not the legend, the man. Lucius leaned against a table, his gaze distant. I was Lucius, Alpha of the Nightshade Pack. We were warriors, protectors of these lands. Then Morgana came, demanding my loyalty, my love. I refused, and she cursed us. Immortality, but at a cost. We can't walk in daylight, can't leave these shadows. My pack, those who remain, endure it with me. Selene's heart ached at the weariness in his voice, and the mate bond. Does it change anything? Lucius's eyes softened, but his voice was hard. It changes everything and nothing. You're my mate, Selene, but that bond could be your death. Morgana's curse punishes those I care for most. Then we fight it, Selene said, stepping closer, together. I'm not afraid of a 200-year-old witch, Rhea scoffed. Brave words. You don't know what you're up against. Neither do you, if you think I'll back down. Selene shot back, earning a grudging nod from Torin. Lucius studied her, a storm of emotions in his eyes. You stay, Selene, but you follow my rules. This pack, this curse, it's my burden. Don't make it harder. Deal, she said, her wolf purring at the challenge. But don't expect me to sit quietly. As they spoke, A cold wind swept through the chamber, rattling the maps. Rhea tensed, her hand on her dagger. "That's no natural breeze," she muttered. "Morgana's watching." Selene's skin prickled, but she held Lucius's gaze. The mate bond pulsed between them, a promise and a peril. Chapter 7. The castle's walls seemed to close in as Selene settled into a small chamber. Lucius assigned her a narrow cot, a cracked window, and a single candle provided sparse comfort, but she didn't care. Her mind buzzed with Lucius's words, the mate bond, and the chilling wind that had ended their meeting. Morgana's presence felt real now. A shadow lurking just out of sight. A knock at the door startled her. Cassian stood there, his bow still slung over his shoulder. "Lucius sent me to check on you," he said, leaning against the doorframe, "and to make sure you don't do anything reckless." Selene raised an eyebrow, sitting on the cot. "Reckless? Me? I'm just sitting here, minding my own business." Cassian chuckled, but his eyes were serious. "You're stirring things up, Selene. Lucius hasn't looked at anyone the way he looks at you in, well, ever. That's dangerous, for him and for you." She frowned, her fingers tracing the dagger's hilt. "Why? Because of the curse." "Because of everything," Cassian said, stepping inside. "Lucius carries the weight of our pack's suffering. He blames himself for Morgana's curse, you being his Matit's hope, but it's also a risk. If Morgana targets you, then I'll fight," Selene said, her voice fierce. "I'm not some fragile pup. I'm a warrior." Cassian nodded, a spark of admiration in his eyes. "I believe you, but warriors fall too. Just be careful." As he left, Selene's thoughts drifted to her pack. Kale, Amanda, Rosedade. Be frantic by now, realizing she was gone. Guilt gnawed at her, but the mate bond drowned it out. She couldn't leave Lucius, not now. The next night, Lucius found her in the courtyard, practicing with her dagger. Moonlight glinted off the blade as she moved, her strikes precise. He watched silently for a moment, then spoke. "You're skilled," he said, "but a dagger won't help against Morgana's magic." Selene sheathed the blade, turning to face him. "Then teach me what will." "You said I'm in danger, fine. Make me ready." Lucius's eyes darkened. "You don't understand. Morgana's power isn't just spells. It's despair, manipulation. She twists your mind, makes you doubt everything. Then why haven't you given up?" Selene challenged, stepping closer. 200 years, and you're still fighting. "Why?" He looked away, his jaw tight. "Because I have to. For my pack, for the ones I've lost, and now for me." She pressed, her voice softer. Lucius met her gaze, the mate bond crackling between them. "You make this harder, Selene. Every moment you're here, I want to protect you on. I can't." "You don't have to protect me," she said, her hand brushing his arm. "We protect each other. That's what mates do, right?" He pulled away, his voice rough. "You're too naive. The bond is real, but it's a chain Morgana can use against us." Before Selene could argue, Rhea appeared, her expression grim. "Lucius, we've got a problem. Tracks near the eastern boundary, not ours. Could be scouts from another pack, or worse." Lucius's eyes narrowed. "Show me, Selene. Stay here." "No chance," Selene said, falling into step beside him. "If it's a threat, I'm not hiding." Lucius growled, but didn't argue. As they followed Rhea into the forest, Selena's wolf stirred, sensing danger and the growing bond that tied her to Lucius, no matter the cost. Chapter 8. The forest was silent as Lucius, Selene, and Rhea followed the tracks. Moonlight filtered through the canopy, casting dappled shadows. The prints were faint, too deliberate for a careless wanderer. Selene's wolf growled, her senses sharp. Lucius moved ahead, his movements silent, while Rhea flanked them, her dagger drawn. "These aren't wolf tracks," Rhea muttered, crouching to examine the ground. "Too heavy, too unnatural." Lucius's eyes glowed faintly, his voice low. "Morgana's work. She sent something to test us." Selena's grip tightened on her dagger. "Test us? Why now?" "Because of you," Rhea said bluntly. "Standing, your scent, your bond with Lucius, it's like a beacon to her." Selene bristled. "So I'm the problem. Maybe if you'd fought harder, you'd have broken this curse by now." Rhea's eyes flashed, but Lucia stepped between them. "Enough. Blame doesn't help. Selene, Morgana's been quiet for decades. Your arrival changed that. We deal with it, not fight each other." They pressed on, the air growing colder. A faint hum vibrated through the ground, like a heartbeat. Selena's skin crawled, her wolf whining. "Lucius, what is this?" He didn't answer, his gaze fixed on a clearing. Ahead, a twisted tree, its branches clawing like fingers, stood at the center, pulsing with faint green light. "Morgana's mark," he said finally. "One of her power anchors. She recounted it here." Selene stared, her heart pounding. "You mean she's here?" "Her spirit," Lucius corrected, "tied to the curse. She doesn't need a body to watch us." A low growl rumbled from the shadows. 3 creatures emerged, hulking, vaguely canine, with eyes like burning coals. Their forms flickered, as if woven from smoke. Rhea cursed, raising her dagger. "Wraiths. Morgana's pets." "Stay tight," Lucius ordered, his voice a whip. Selene aimed for the chest. "It's their core." The wraiths lunged, and the fight was a blur of claws and steel. Selene dodged a swipe, her dagger slicing through a wraith's arm. It shrieked, dissolving into smoke. Lucius tore through another, his claws glowing faintly, while Rhea fought with brutal precision. When the last wraith fell, Selene was panting, her arm bleeding. "You're reckless," Lucius growled, checking her wound. "I told you to stay back." "And I told you I'm not hiding," Selene shot back, wincing as he bound her arm with a strip of his cloak. "We won, didn't we?" Rhea snorted, cleaning her blade. "Barely. Those were scouts." She sent worse. Back at the castle, Lucius led Selene to a fire-lit hall where Tauren and Cassian waited. He recounted the attack, his voice grim, Morgana's stirring. "Selena's bond with me is drawing her out." Tauren leaned forward, his eyes serious. "Then, we need to know more. Lucius, you know Morgana's story. Tell her the full truth." Lucius sighed, sitting heavily. "Morgana was obsessed. She believed I was her destined mate. When I chose my pack over her, she swore I'd never love another. The curse was her revenge, not just on me, but on anyone who'd share my heart." Selena's breath caught. "So I'm her target because I'm your mate?" Lucius nodded, his eyes raw. "I tried to warn you, Selene. This is why I told you to leave. And I'm staying," she said, her voice fierce. "We'll break her curse, Lucius. Whatever it takes." Cassian raised a glass of water in a grim toast. "2 stubborn mates and impossible fights. May we live to see the end." As the fire crackled, Selene felt Morgana's gaze, a shadow at the edge of her mind. The witch's legacy was a chain, but the bond with Lucius was her strength. Chapter 9. The castle's library was a maze of crumbling shelves and dusty tomes, its air thick with the scent of aged leather. Selene ran her fingers along a shelf, her eyes scanning faded titles. Lucius had suggested searching for clues about the curse, and she'd spent days here, determined to find answers. Her arm, now healed, still ached faintly from the wraith. Attack, a reminder of Morgana's threat. Cassian lounged nearby, flipping through a book with mock seriousness. "You sure you're not just hiding from Rhea's training drills?" he teased. "She's been grumbling about your soft outsider reflexes." Selene rolled her eyes, pulling a heavy tome from the shelf. "Rhea can grumble all she wants. I'm here to help, not spar for her approval." Cassian grinned, leaning back. "Fair enough. But you've got Lucius's pack in a spin. Torrens started calling you the Alpha's fire. Thinks you're good for him." Selene's cheeks warmed, but she focused on the book. "Lucius doesn't need me to fix him. He needs a way out of this curse." As she spoke, Lucius entered, his presence filling the room. "Any luck?" he asked, his voice softer than usual. Selene shook her head, opening the tome. "Nothing yet, just old pack histories and herb lore." "What about you? You've been out scouting every night." Lucius leaned against a shelf, his eyes tired. "More wraith tracks, but no attacks. Morgana's biding her time, watching us." Cassian closed his book, standing. "I'll leave you two to your brooding. Got a patrol with Torren." He winked at Selene and left, the door creaking shut. Alone, Selene met Lucius's gaze. The mate bond hummed, pulling her closer. "You look exhausted," she said, setting the book down. "When's the last time you rested?" Lucius's lips twitched. "Rest is a luxury Alpha's fire. But you're one to talk, burying yourself in these dusty pages." She smiled, stepping closer. "Someone's got to find a way to free you. And don't call me that. Nicknames are bad enough." Lucius chuckled, but his expression sobered. "Selene, you're risking everything for this. For me, why?" She reached out, her hand resting on his chest. "Because you're my mate, Lucius. I feel it every time you're near, every time you fight for your pack. I'm not leaving you to face this alone." He covered her hand with his touch warm. "You make me want to hope, Selene. That's dangerous. Then let's be dangerous together," she said, her voice fierce. Their lips were inches apart when a shout echoed from the courtyard. They broke apart, rushing outside. Rhea stood over a fallen figure. Gavin, the young warrior from Selene's pack, bloodied and barely conscious. "Selene," Gavin gasped, clutching her arm as she knelt beside him. "Your pack, they're looking for you. Kale sent me, but something attacked me out there." Lucius's eyes narrowed. "Morgana's work. She's using your pack to draw you out." Selena's heart pounded, guilt and fear warring within her. "Gavin, how did you find me?" "Followed your trail." He rasped. "Kale's furious. Rose is worried. They think you're in danger." Rhea crossed her arms, glaring at Selene. "Your pack's meddling could bring Morgana down on us all." "Enough, Rhea," Lucius snapped. "Gavin's injured. We help him, then decide what to do." As they carried Gavin inside, Selena's mind raced. Her pack was closing in, and Morgana's shadow loomed larger. The bond with Lucius was her anchor, but the cost of staying was growing. Chapter 10. The castle's infirmary was a small room with herb-scented air and flickering candles. Gavin lay on a cot, his wounds cleaned and bandaged by Torren, who muttered about reckless pups. As he worked, Selene sat beside Gavin, her guilt heavy. Lucius stood by the door, his arms crossed, while Rhea and Cassian waited outside. Their voices low. "Selene," Gavin said, his voice weak but urgent. "Kale's planning to search the deep woods. He thinks you're captured, or, worse, you need to go back." Selena's chest tightened. "I can't, Gavin. Not yet. There's something here I have to finish." Gavin frowned, his eyes searching hers. "This place, it's not right. I felt something out there, watching me, like it wanted me to fail." Lucius stepped closer, his voice low. "That was Morgana. She's toying with us, using your pack to weaken Selena's resolve." Gavin's eyes widened. "The witch, from the stories. She's real, too real," Selena said, her voice hard. She cursed Lucius and his pack. "I'm staying to help." "Break it." Torin finished bandaging Gavin's arm, looking up. "Noble, but risky. Your pack's search could stir up more than wraiths. Morgana's got eyes everywhere." Selene nodded, her jaw tight. "Then we need to act fast. Lucius, we can't keep wandering blindly. There's got to be a way to fight her." Lucius's eyes met hers, the mate bond fierce. "There might be. The library, there's a tome I've avoided. It's old, tied to Morgana's magic. It could hold answers, but it's dangerous." "Then we read it," Selene said, standing. Now, as they headed to the library, a tremor shook the castle, dust falling from the ceiling. Shadows writhed along the walls, forming claw-like shapes. Rhea burst in, her dagger drawn. Wraiths, there at the gates. Lucius roared, his form shifting to a towering wolf, claws gleaming. "Selene, stay with Gavin. Rhea, Cassian, Torin, with me." "No." Selene shouted, grabbing her dagger. "I'm fighting, Lucius." Gavin's stable. Lucius growled, but there was no time to argue. The wraiths breached the gates, their screeches echoing. The battle was chaos. Lucius tore through the creatures, his claws glowing, while Rhea and Cassian struck with precision. Selene fought beside them, her dagger finding wraith cores, her wolf roaring. As the last wraith fell, a cold laughter filled the air. A shadowy figure flickered at the gates. Morgana's spirit, her eyes burning. "You think you can defy me, Lucius," she hissed. "This girl's bond will be your ruin." Selene stepped forward, her voice defiant. "Try me, witch. I'm not breaking." Morgana's laughter faded, her form dissolving. The castle fell silent, but the threat lingered. Selene turned to Lucius, her heart pounding. "That book, we find it now." Lucius nodded, his eyes fierce. Together, as they headed to the library, Selene felt the weight of Morgana's gaze. The first challenge was won, but the war for their freedom had just begun. Chapter 11. The castle's library was a labyrinth of shadows, its air heavy with the scent of ancient parchment. Selene stood at a scarred oak table, her hands trembling. As she opened the tome Lucius had warned her about, its leather cover was etched with runes that pulsed faintly, and the pages crackled with an unnatural chill. Lucius hovered nearby, his silver eyes wary, while Cassian leaned against a shelf, flipping his dagger absently. Rhea and Torin guarded the door, their postures tense after Morgana's wraith attack. "This book gives me the creeps," Cassian said, eyeing the tome. "You sure it's worth the risk, Lucius?" Lucius's jaw tightened. "It's our only lead. Morgana's magic is woven into it, her secrets, maybe even her weaknesses. But it's not just words. It fights back." Selene met his gaze, her resolve firm. Then we fight it together. I'm not letting a book scare me off, Rhea snorted from the doorway. Brave words, outsider. Let's see if you're still bold when it starts whispering in your head. Enough, Rhea, Lucius growled, his voice carrying an alpha's weight. Selene's earned her place here. Selene ignored Rhea's jab, turning the first page. The text was in an ancient script, interspersed with symbols that seemed to shift under her gaze. Her wolf stirred, uneasy but curious. Lucius, can you read this? He leaned over her shoulder, his scent pine and moonlight grounding her. Parts of it, it's a mix of old wolf tongue and witch runes. Here he pointed to a passage. It speaks of a ritual to break a blood curse. 3 components, a relic of the caster, a bond of true heart, and a sacrifice freely given. Selene's heart raced. A ritual, that's it, then. We find these components, and you're free. Torin stepped closer, his grizzled face skeptical. Sounds too simple. Morgana's not the type to leave a neat little recipe for her own defeat. He's right, Lucius said, his voice low. The relic could be anything, her grimoire, a talisman, the bond. His eyes flicked to Selene, the mate bond humming between them. That's likely you and me. But the sacrifice, that's what worries me. Selene swallowed, her fingers tracing the runes. What kind of sacrifice? The tome pulsed, and a cold whisper slithered through her mind. Everything you love. She gasped, slamming it shut. Lucius grabbed her shoulders, his eyes fierce. Selene, what happened? It spoke, she said, her voice shaking. Said the sacrifice is everything I love. Cassian stopped, flipping his dagger, his face pale. That's Morgana's trick. She twists your fears, makes you doubt. Rhea crossed her arms. Or it's the truth. You willing to lose your pack, your family, for this, Selene? Selene straightened, her amber eyes blazing. If it means freeing Lucius in your pack, I'll face whatever it takes. You'd do the same for them, Rhea. Rhea's lips twitched, a grudging respect in her gaze. Maybe you're not all talk. Lucius released Selene, his expression stormy. We proceed carefully. The book's dangerous, but it's our only clue. Selene, you don't read it alone. Deal? She said, her wolf purring at his concern. But we need to move fast. Gavin, said Kales, searching for me. If my pack gets too close. Torin nodded. They'll draw Morgana's attention. We need to keep them away. A knock interrupted them. Gavin stood at the door, his wounds bandaged but his face pale. Selene, I overheard. If Kale's coming, I can go back, tell them you're safe. Selene's heart clenched. Gavin, you're hurt, and Morgana's watching the forest. I'm a scout, he said, his voice firm. I know how to move unseen. Let me do this. Lucius studied him, then nodded. Go at dawn, Cassian, escort him to the boundary. As Gavin left, Selene turned back to the tome, her resolve hardening. The curse's secrets were within reach, but Morgana's shadow loomed larger than ever. Chapter 12. The castle's great hall buzzed with tension as Lucius gathered his pack. Selene stood at his side, her presence drawing curious and hostile glances. The Nightshade pack was small, barely a dozen wolves, their faces etched with centuries of hardship. Rhea, Torin, and Cassian were joined by others. Ilara, a quiet healer, with braided silver hair. Dren, a hulking warrior with a missing eye. And Vera, a young scout with nervous energy. Gavin rested in the infirmary, preparing for his dawn departure. Lucius raised a hand, silencing the murmurs. Selene has found a clue in Morgana's Toma ritual to break the curse. But it's dangerous, and her presence here has stirred Morgana's wrath. I need your trust, now more than ever. Dren's gravelly voice cut through the silence. Trust. She's an outsider, Lucius. Her pack's sniffing around, drawing eyes. How do we know she's not Morgana's pawn? Selene bristled, stepping forward. I'm Lucius's mate, Dren. My wolf led me here, not Morgana. I'm fighting. For your freedom as much as his. Vera fidgeted, her voice soft. But why you? After 200 years, why now? I don't know, Selene admitted, her amber eyes steady. But the mate bond is real. You've all felt it with someone, haven't you? That pull, that certainty. I'm here because Lucius is mine, and I won't let Morgana keep him. Alara's gaze softened. The bond is sacred. If Selene is his mate, she has a right to fight for him. Rhea crossed her arms, her scar glinting in the firelight. Fine words, but words don't stop wraiths. Her pack's search could bring Morgana's full force down on us. Torin scratched his beard. Rhea's got a point. Selene, your brother Cale, was it? He's not the type to back off, is he? Selena's chest tightened, memories of Cale's protective stubbornness surfacing. No, he'll tear the forest apart to find me. That's why Gavin's going back to buy us time. Dren snorted. Time. Morgana's already waking. Last night's wraiths were just the start. Lucius's voice thundered, silencing them. Enough. Selene stays. She's my mate, and she's proven her courage. We focus on the ritual, find the relic, strengthen the bond, face the sacrifice. Anyone who can't accept that can leave. The pack fell silent, their loyalty to Lucius outweighing their doubts. Cassian clapped his hands, breaking the tension. Well, that's settled. Let's not stand around glowering, Selene. Any ideas where this relic might be? Selene glanced at Lucius, the mate bond steadying her. The tome mentioned a caster's heart. Maybe it's literal, talisman Morgana used. Lucius, where did she cast the curse? Lucius's eyes darkened. A grove, deep in the forest. Her magic's strongest there, but it's a trap, always has been. Then we spring it, Selene said, her voice fierce. We're not waiting for her to come to us. Rhea's lips curled. Reckless, but I like it. Just don't expect me to hold your hand, outsider. Wouldn't dream of it, Selene shot back, earning a chuckle from Torin. As the pack dispersed, Lucius pulled Selene aside, his voice low. You're winning them over, but it's fragile. Dren and Rhea won't trust easily. I don't need their trust, Selene said, her hand brushing his. I need you. We'll do this, Lucius. He squeezed her hand, the bond flaring, together. Outside, the forest whispered, Morgana's presence, a cold weight. Selena's pack was out there, and the Nightshade pack's resistance was a hurdle, but her resolve was unbreakable. Chapter 13. The grove was a scar in the forest, its air thick with unnatural stillness. Twisted trees formed a circle, their roots pulsing with faint green light. Selena's wolfwind, sensing Morgana's magic. Lucius led the way, his claws ready, while Selene, Rhea, and Cassian followed. Torin and Alara stayed behind to guard the castle and Gavin, who'd left at dawn to reach the Crescent Moon pack. This place reeks of her, Rhea muttered, her dagger drawn. Keep your eyes sharp. Selene nodded, her hand on her dagger. The mate bond with Lucius was a steady pulse, guiding her through the oppressive air. Lucius, you said? Morgana, cast the curse here. Any idea where the relic might be? He scanned the grove, his eyes glowing. Her altar was at the center of a stone slab. If the relic's anywhere, it's there. Cassian notched an arrow, his voice low. Or it's a trap. She's not exactly the leave treasures lying around type. Only one way to find. Out, Selene said, stepping forward. Lucius grabbed her arm, his grip firm. Stay behind me, he said, his voice a growl. Morgana's spirit thrives here. Selene met his gaze, her wolf stirring. I'm not hiding, Lucius. We do this. Together, he sighed, releasing her, stubborn as ever. They reached the altar, a blackened stone carved with runes. A faint hum emanated from it, and Selene's skin prickled. She knelt, tracing the carvings. These matched the tome's runes. Maybe the relics inside. Before Lucius could respond, the ground trembled. Shadows coalesced, forming more spirit pale, with burning eyes and flowing black hair. Her voice was a venomous hiss. You dare defile my sanctum, Lucius. And with her, Selene stood, her dagger raised. We're here to end your curse, Morgana. You don't own him anymore. Morgana's laughter echoed, chilling. Foolish girl, the bond you cherish is my weapon. You'll break, just as he will. Rhea lunged, her dagger slashing through Morgana's form. It dissipated, reforming instantly. Nice try, Morgana taunted. You can't kill what's already dead. Cassian loosed an arrow, but it passed through her. Lucius, any ideas? He called, notching another. Lucius's claws glowed, his voice steady. The altar, break its anchor. Selene grabbed a rock, smashing it against the stone. Sparks flew, and Morgana shrieked, her form flickering. Rhea and Cassian joined in, their weapons striking. Lucius clawed at the runes, his strength cracking the slab. A small obsidian amulet fell from a hidden compartment, pulsing with green light. The relic, Selene shouted, reaching for it. Morgana's spirit surged, her voice a scream. You'll pay for this. Shadows erupted, wraiths clawing from the ground. Selene snatched the amulet, its cold burning her hand. Lucius roared, tearing through. A wraith, while Rhea and Cassian fought back to back. Selene tucked the amulet into her cloak, her dagger flashing as she joined the fray. Get to the edge, Lucius shouted, his claws glowing brighter. They fought their way out, laughter fading as they escaped the grove. Panting, Selene held up the amulet, its light dimming. We got it, she said, her voice triumphant. Lucius's eyes were grim, and she knows. This was too easy. Rhea wiped blood from her cheek. Easy. Tell that to my bruisers. Cassian grinned, slinging his bow. One down, two to go. Let's not celebrate yet. As they trekked back, Selene clutched the amulet, Morgana's threat echoing. The witch's lair had yielded a prize, but the cost was rising. Chapter 14. Back at the castle, Selene sat in the library, the obsidian amulet on the table. Its faint pulse unnerved her, but it was proof they could fight Morgana. Lucius paced, his eyes stormy, while Ilara examined the amulet, her fingers hovering over it. Torin and Rhea stood by the door, discussing the grove's attack, while Cassian cleaned his bow nearby. It's definitely hers, Ilara said, her voice soft. The magic's old, tied to Morgana's essence. It's the relic for the ritual. Selene leaned forward. So, we have the relic and the bond, me and Lucius. What's left is the sacrifice. The tome said it's freely given. Any clues? What that means? Lucius stopped pacing, his voice rough. Morgana's curses always demand pain. The sacrifice could be your life, Selenia, something just as precious. Selena's heart clenched, memories of her pack flashing Kale's stern protectiveness. Amanda's teasing grin, Rose's wisdom. My pack, she said quietly. The tome's voice said everything you love. Maybe it means giving them up. Cassian frowned, setting his bow down. You'd leave your pack forever. That's heavy, Selene. I don't know, she admitted, her voice tight. But if it frees Lucius and all of you, I'd consider it. Rhea crossed her arms, her scar glinting. Don't play martyr yet. We don't even know if the ritual works. Torin nodded, his voice gruff. She's right. Morgana's tricks run deep. This amulet could be a lure, not a key. Lucius slammed a fist on the table, startling them. Enough doubt. We have the relic. We trust the tome, or we give up. Selena's risked everything, don't dismiss her. Ilara's eyes softened, looking at Selene. You're brave, but Lucius is right about the cost. The sacrifice must be yours alone, freely chosen. Think carefully. Selene nodded, her gaze meeting Lucius's. The mate bond burned, a lifeline in the storm. I will, but we need to know more. Lucius, the tome mentioned a bond of true heart. Is that just us, or something else? Lucius sat beside her, his voice low. The bond is us, but it needs to be unbreakable. Morgana will test it, push us to doubt each other. Then we don't let her, Selene said, her hand finding his. We've faced wraiths, her spirit was stronger than her games. He squeezed her hand, his eyes raw. You make me believe that, Selene, but I can't lose you. You won't, she promised, her wolf purring. A shout from the courtyard broke the moment. Vera burst in, her face pale. Wraiths at the eastern wall, more than before. Lucius stood, his claws extending. Rhea, Torin with me. Cassian, guard the amulet. Selene, LRS stay here. No, Selene said, grabbing her dagger. I'm fighting. Ilara, keep the amulet safe. Lucius growled but nodded. Stay close. The battle was fierce, wraiths swarming the walls. Lucius and Rhea fought as a unit, their claws and daggers flashing, while Torin and Vera held the flank. Selene struck a wraith's core, her movements honed by Rhea's drills. As the last creature fell, Morgana's voice whispered through the air, the cost is coming, girl. Selene shivered, clutching Lucius's arm. She's taunting us. We need to finish this ritual. He nodded, his eyes fierce. We will. But you decide the sacrifice, Selene, not her. As they returned to the castle, Selena's resolve hardened. The cost of freedom was steep, but the bond with Lucius was worth it. Chapter 15. The castle was eerily quiet after the wraith attack, its halls lit by flickering torches. Selene sat in the great hall, cleaning her dagger, her mind racing. The amulet was safe with Ilara, but Morgana's taunts echoed, and the sacrifice loomed. Lucius was scouting with Torin, while Rhea and Cassian repaired the eastern wall. Vera and Dren patrolled, their distrust of Selene still simmering. Ilara entered, her silver braids gleaming. Selene, I've studied the amulet. It's powerful, but unstable. We need to use it soon, or its magic could turn against us. Selene nodded, her voice tense. I know, but the sacrifice, I'm still figuring it out. Ilara's eyes softened. You remind me of Lucius, long ago. He was stubborn, too, always fighting for us. Don't lose yourself in this, Selene. Before Selene could respond, a scream echoed from the infirmary. They raced to find Vera, standing over an empty cot, her face ashen. "Gavin's gone," she cried. "He was here an hour ago." Selena's heart sank. "He's too weak to wander. Someone took him." Cassian burst in, his bow drawn, tracks outside leading to the forest. Not wraiths, wolf prints. Lucius and Torin returned, their faces grim. "Morgana's work," Lucius said, his voice a growl. "She's using Gavin to draw Selene out." Selene clenched her fists, guilt surging. "This is my fault. He came for me." Rhea stormed in, her eyes blazing. "Or it's one of us." Someone left the infirmary unguarded. Dren was supposed to watch him. Dren lumbered in, his one eye narrowing. "I was patrolling, as ordered. Don't pin this on me, Rhea." "Enough," Lucius roared. "We track Gavin now. Selene, Cassian, Rhea, with me. Torin, Elara, guard the castle." As they followed the tracks, Selena's wolf sensed a familiar scent. Gavin's, mixed with something sour like fear. The trail led to a ravine where Gavin lay bound, his eyes wide with terror. A cloaked figure stood over him. Dren, his claws at Gavin's throat. "Dren," Lucius snarled, his form shifting. "What is this?" Dren's eye glinted, his voice cold. "Morgana promised freedom. All I had to do was deliver the girl." Selena's blood ran cold. "You betrayed us." "For her," Dren sneered. 200 years of shadows, and Lucius does nothing. "You show up, and suddenly we're fighting again. You're a curse, Selene." Cassian raised his bow, but Rhea grabbed his arm. "He's still Pack. Let Lucius handle it." Lucius lunged, his claws clashing with Dren's. Selene freed Gavin, her dagger, cutting his bonds. "You okay?" she whispered. Gavin nodded, his voice hoarse. "He ambushed me. Said Morgana wanted you." The fight ended swiftly. Lucius pinned Dren, his claws at his throat. "Why, Dren?" he growled. "We're family." Dren's voice broke. "I'm tired, Lucius. Morgana promised an end." Lucius's eyes softened, but his voice was steel. "You chose her over us. You're exiled. Run, and don't return." Dren fled, his form vanishing into the forest. Selene helped Gavin stand, her heart heavy. "Lucius, I'm sorry. This is because of me." He turned, his eyes raw. "No." Dren made his choice. "You're my mate, Selene. We face this together." Rhea spat on the ground. "One traitor down, but Morgana's still playing us." Cassian slung his bow, his voice grim. "Let's get Gavin back. And Selene, watch your back. If Dren fell, others might." As they returned to the castle, Selene clutched Lucius's hand, the mate bond her anchor. Betrayal had struck, but the fight for freedom burned brighter. Chapter 16. The castle's infirmary was dimly lit, the air thick with the scent of herbs and blood. Gavin rested on a cot, his wounds from Dren's betrayal bandaged but his face. Pale Selene sat beside him, her heart heavy with guilt. Lucius stood by the door, his silver eyes scanning the shadows, while Elara adjusted Gavin's bandages. Rhea, Torin, and Cassian were repairing the castle's defenses, and Vera patrolled the perimeter. Her nervous energy a stark contrast to the pack's grim mood. "Selene," Gavin rasped, his voice weak but urgent. "You can't stay here." Kale's coming guy told him, "You're safe," but he won't stop. "And that which puts she's in my head." Selena's chest tightened, the mate bond with Lucius, a steady pulse against her fear. "Morgana's trying to break us, Gavin. But I'm not leaving." We're so close to ending this. Ilara looked up, her silver braids catching the candlelight. He's right about your pack. If they reach us, Morgana will use them. The amulet's power is growing unstable. We need to act soon. Lucius crossed his arms, his voice low. The ritual requires the relic, the bond, and the sacrifice. We have the amulet and the bond. His eyes met Selene's, the mate. Bond flaring, but the sacrifice is still unclear. Selene stood, her amber eyes fierce. Then we figure it out. Gavin, rest. Ilara, keep him safe. Lucius, we need to talk alone. They moved to a quiet corner of the infirmary, the torchlight, casting shadows on Lucius's face. Selene, Morgana's targeting you because of me, he said, his voice rough. Dren's betrayal proves it. She'll use anyone your pack, mine to break you. Selene stepped closer, her hand on his chest. She's not breaking us. I felt you in the ravine, Lucius, our bond. It's stronger than her tricks. Lucius's eyes softened, but his voice was hard. You don't know what she's capable of. I felt her in my mind for years, twisting my thoughts. If she gets to you, then we fight her together, Selene interrupted, her voice fierce. The tome said a bond of true heart. That's us, Lucius. I know it. He cupped her face, his touch warm. You're my strength, Selene, but you're also my weakness. If I lose you, you won't, she promised, her wolf purring. We're stronger than her. A distant howl cut through their moment Vera's signal. Lucius tensed, his claws extending. Trouble, stay with Gavin. No, Selene said, grabbing her dagger. We face this together. They rushed to the courtyard, where Vera stood with Rhea and Cassian, their weapons drawn. Torin joined them, his sword gleaming. Wraiths, Vera said, her voice trembling. Dozens at the northern gate. Selena's heart pounded, but a new sensation stirred a warmth in her mind, like Lucius's presence. Can you hear me? She thought, testing the bond. Lucius's eyes widened. I hear you. His voice echoed in her mind, clear and strong. The bond, it's growing. Then let's use it, Selene said aloud, her dagger ready. Morgana wants to. Scare us. Let's show her we're not afraid. The wraiths attacked, their smoky forms surging through the gate. Lucius and Selene fought as one, their bond guiding their movements, his claws striking where her dagger missed, her senses alerting him to threats. Rhea and Cassian held the line, while Torin and Vera flanked the wraiths. As the last creature fell, Morgana's voice hissed through the air. Your bond is strong, but it won't save you. Selene clutched Lucius's arm, her voice defiant. Keep talking, we're coming for you. Lucius's eyes blazed. The ritual, we prepare it now. Morgana's desperate, she knows we're close. As they returned to the castle, Selene felt the bond's power, a lifeline against the shadows. Morgana's attacks were intensifying, but so was their strength. Chapter 17. The forest was a maze of shadows as Selene, Lucius, Rhea, and Cassian ventured beyond the castle's boundaries. The obsidian amulet hung round Selene's neck, its pulse unsteady, urging them to hurry. The tome had listed additional ingredients for the ritual moonbloom petals, a rare flower that glowed under moonlight, and bloodstone, a gem infused with ancient magic. Both were rumored to grow in the cursed territories beyond the grove. We're walking into Morgana's playground, Rhea muttered, her dagger drawn. This better be worth it. Selene adjusted the amulet, her voice firm. It is. the rituals. Our only shot. Cassian notched an arrow, his eyes scanning the trees. Moonblooms rare, but I've seen it near the old ruins. Bloodstones, trickier caves. Maybe. Lucius, any guesses? Lucius's claws glinted, his voice low. The ruins for the moonbloom, but the caves are a death trap. Morgana's magic lingers there. Selene's wolf stirred, the bond with Lucius steadying her. Then we stick together. No splitting up. They reached the ruins first, a crumbling temple overrun with vines. Moonlight revealed clusters of moonbloom, their petals shimmering. Selene knelt to pick them, but the ground trembled and wraiths emerged, their eyes burning. Ambush. Rhea shouted, her dagger flashing. Lucius roared, his claws tearing through a wraith. Selene fought beside him, their bond sinking their strikes. Cassian's arrows struck true, and Rhea's blade found cause. As Selene gathered the petals, a wraith lunged, but Lucius's mind voice rang out, "Duck." She dropped, his claws dispatching the creature. "Thanks," she panted, clutching the petals. "Don't thank me yet," he growled, scanning the ruins. "We've got the moonbloom. Caves next." The caves were deeper in the forest, their entrance a jagged maw. The air was thick with more magic, and Selene's skin prickled. "This feels worse than the grove," she said, her dagger ready. Cassian nodded, his bow raised. "Stay sharp. Bloodstones deep inside, but so are her traps." They navigated the tunnels, guided by senses. Shadows writhed, forming illusions Kale's face, Amanda's laugh, Rose's stern gaze. Selena's heart ached, but Lucius's mind voice steadied her. "They're not real. Focus on me." She gripped his hand, the bond anchoring her. They found a bloodstone embedded in a stalagmite, its red glow pulsing. As Selene pried it free, Morgana's voice echoed, "You'll never escape me." Wraith surged, but the group fought as a unit, their coordination honed. Selene tucked the bloodstone into her cloak, her voice defiant. "We're ready, Morgana. Your time's up." Back at the castle, Alara examined the ingredients, her face grave. "These are potent, but the ritual's dangerous. The sacrifice. Selene, are you sure?" Selene glanced at Lucius, the bond flaring. "I'm sure. Let's end this." Torin clapped her shoulder, his voice gruff. "You're one of us now. Alpha's fire." Rhea rolled her eyes but nodded. "Don't mess this up, outsider." As they prepared, Selene felt Morgana's gaze, but the bond with Lucius was stronger. The ingredients were gathered, but the ritual's cost loomed. Chapter 18. The castle's courtyard was transformed. A circle of moonbloom petals and blood shards arranged around Morgana's amulet. Torches cast flickering light, and the nightshade pack gathered Drea. Torin, Cassian, Ilara, and Vera, their faces tense. Gavin, now stronger, stood with them, his eyes worried. Selene and Lucius stood at the circle center, the mate bond. A steady hum. Ilara held the tome, her voice steady as she read the ritual's incantation. The relic binds the curse, the bond fuels the heart, the sacrifice breaks the chain. Speak the words, and let the truth guide you. Selene clutched Lucius's hand, the amulet around her neck pulsing. "Ready?" she asked, her voice trembling, but resolute. Lucius's eyes were fierce. "For you, always." As Alara chanted, the air thickened and the amulet glowed green. Shadows swirled, and Morgana's spirit manifested, her form towering. "You think you can defy me?" she hissed. "The sacrifice will destroy you." Selena's wolf growled, her voice defiant. "Try us. which the pack tightened the circle, their presence a shield. Rhea gripped her dagger, muttering, "This better work." Cassian notched an arrow, his voice grim. "If it doesn't, we're ready for her." Torrhen stood by Gavin, his sword raised. "For the pack," he said, his voice steady. Vera's eyes darted, but she held her ground. "For freedom." Alara's chant grew louder, the amulet's light intensifying. Selene felt Lucius's mind, their bond a lifeline. "I'm with you," he said, his voice clear. Morgana's spirit lunged, her claws aimed at Selene. Lucius shifted, his wolf form blocking her. Selene drew her dagger, striking the amulet. It cracked, and Morgana screamed, her form flickering. "Keep going," Alara shouted, her voice strained. "The bond focus on it." Selene closed her eyes, the bond. Flaring, she saw Lucius's memories, his pack's laughter, his pain under the curse, his hope with her. "I love you," she whispered, her voice breaking. Lucius's wolf howled, their bond a blaze of light. The amulet shattered, and Morgana's spirit writhed, her voice a wail. "You'll pay. The sacrifice is yours." The ground shook, and Selene felt a pull, like her soul was tearing. The ritual was working, but Morgana's power fought back. Chapter 19. The courtyard was a storm of shadows and light, the amulet's fragments glowing on the ground. Morgana's spirit loomed, her eyes burning with rage. Selene clung to Lucius, their bond a beacon in the chaos. The pack held the circle, their voices raised in Rhea's fierce shouts, Cassian's steady commands, Torrhen's gruff encouragement, Vera's nervous chants, and Elara's unwavering incantation. The sacrifice. Alara yelled, her voice hoarse. "Selene, it must be now." Selene's heart pounded, Morgana's words echoing, "Everything you love." She thought of her pack-kale's protectiveness, Amanda's laughter, Rose's wisdom. Leaving them would break her, but losing Lucius was unthinkable. "Lucius," she said, her voice trembling. "The sacrifice, it's my pack. I'll sever my ties to them, my home everything." Lucius's wolf form shifted back, his human eyes wide. "Selene, no, you can't, I have to," she interrupted, tears in her eyes. "For you, for your pack, I choose this." Morgana's laughter cut through the air. "Foolish girl, you think that's enough. Your bond weakens him." Selene ignored her, facing Alara. "Tell me what to do." Alara's eyes were sad but firm. "Speak the words. I sever my ties, freely given, for the bond of true heart, then offer the bloodstone." Selene nodded, taking the bloodstone. From her cloak, she sliced her palm, blood dripping onto the stone. "I sever my ties, freely given, for the bond of true heart." The amulet's fragments flared, and Morgana screamed, her form fracturing. The bond with Lucius surged, their minds entwined. Selene felt her connection to her pack-ale, Amanda, Rosefade, a hollow ache in her chest. "No," Lucius roared, grabbing her shoulders. "Selene, you don't have to do this." "I do," she said, her voice steady despite the pain. "I love you, Lucius. This is my choice." The ritual's light engulfed them, Morgana's spirit shrinking. The curse weakened, shadows lifting from the castle. The pack gasped as moonlight bathed them, free of the curse's weight. But Morgana's voice lingered. "You've not won yet." Selene collapsed, Lucius catching her. "It worked," she whispered, her vision blurring. "But she's still here." Alara knelt beside her, checking her pulse. "The curse is weakened, but not broken. Morgana's tethered to you now. Selene, your sacrifice tied her to you, Rhea cursed, her dagger still drawn. So we're not done. Cassian shook his head, his bow lowered. Not yet, but we're closer. Torin helped Gavin stand, his voice gruff. You did good, Alpha's fire. Cost you though. Vera's eyes were wide. Will she be okay? Lucius held Selene close, his voice breaking. She will. She's stronger than Morgana. As the light faded, Selene felt the bond, her anchor. The sacrifice had cost her home, but the fight wasn't over. Chapter 20. The castle was silent. The ritual's aftermath, leaving the pack weary but hopeful. Selene sat on the ramparts, her legs dangling over the edge, the dawn's first light, painting the sky. Lucius sat beside her, his hand in hers, the mate bond a steady warmth. The curse was weakened, but Morgana's spirit lingered, tethered to Selene's sacrifice. The pack gathered Beloria, Torin, Cassian, Elara, Vera, and Gavin, their faces reflecting a mix of relief and resolve. You gave up everything, Lucius said, his voice low. Your pack, your home. I never wanted that, Selene squeezed. His hand, her amber eyes steady. I chose you, Lucius, and I'd do it again. He turned to her, his eyes raw. You're my world, Selene. But Morgana's not gone. She's part of you now. Selene nodded, the ache in her chest, a reminder of her severed ties. I feel her, like a shadow in my mind, but the bond sits stronger. Rhea approached, her scar glinting in the dawn. You're one of us now, outsider. Don't make me regret saying that. Selene smiled, her voice teasing. Careful, Rhea. That almost sounded like a compliment. Cassian laughed, slinging his bow. She's got you there. So, what's next? Morgana's still out there. Elara joined them, her silver braids glowing. The ritual weakened her, but she's tethered to Selene's sacrifice. We need to banish her spirit permanently. Torin scratched his beard, his voice gruff. Any ideas how? I'm not keen. On another 200 years of this, Gavin, leaning on Vera, spoke up. What about Selene's pack? Kale's still out there. If they find her, Selene's heart clenched. They won't. I severed the bond. They'll feel I'm gone. Vera's eyes softened. That's heavy, Selene. I'm sorry. Don't be, Selene said, standing. We finish this. Morgana's weakliettes end her. Lucius stood, his claws extending. The grove her power's strongest there, but so is ours now. The dawn weakens her. They trekked to the grove, the pack united. The twisted trees were silent, the altar's ruins dark. Morgana's spirit appeared, weaker but venomous. You think you've won, she hissed. I'm part of you, girl. Selene stepped forward, the bond with Lucius blazing. You're nothing, Morgana. We're free, and you're fading. Lucius's claws glowed, and the pack formed a circle, their voices chanting Elara's incantation. Selene raised the bloodstone, its light merging with the dawn. Begone, she said, her voice a command. Morgana screamed, her form dissolving into light. The curse shattered, the forest exhaling. The pack stepped into the dawn, their faces bathed in sunlight for the first time in centuries. Lucius pulled. Selene close, his voice a whisper. You did it. We did it, she corrected, her wolf purring. Rhea clapped her shoulder, her voice gruff. Not bad, Alpha's fire. Cassian grinned. Torin nodded, and Vera hugged Gavin, who smiled weakly. Ilara's eyes shone, the pack's free. You're our heart, Selene. As they returned to the castle, Selene looked at the horizon, her Home lost, but a new one found. The Shadow Alpha was hers, and the dawn was theirs.